Hello, everybody. We are live again from the Grosvenor Centre, from Screen Northants, right next to HMV, between HMV and New Look. Talking about being between things, I've gone wider for this one. And if you're keen-eyed, you'll see, can't do this. Over here, we have a lovely mannequin sporting a Screen Northants t-shirt. Over this side, we have a little prop that was made by someone that works with us, Jonathan Reynolds, for a feature film called Fortune Cookies. And I thought you deserved to see him. Usually we've been hiding him. He's a bit nuts. He is a human-sized sculpture made out of chip forks, obviously. Yeah, so if you are tuning in live, these are our broadcasts that we've been doing all about Northampton Film Festival to try and encourage people to have a go and to meet other people that are in Northamptonshire who are making films, who've entered the film festival last year, years before, whatever, because there's so many people in this county that are doing creative things, filmy things, and we just don't always know them. If you are watching live, you can ask questions in the chat wherever you're watching it, and we will endeavour to answer them. If you can make them vaguely relevant to film, that'd be great. Then if you're obviously watching it again on our YouTube or Facebook pages, you can't ask questions live, but you are welcome to get in touch with us. We like talking to people. That's why we exist, and that's also why we're based in a shopping centre. So just in case you are interested in finding out more about Northampton Film Festival and how you can get involved, whether you're at school, a young person, a really old person like me, or even older, I don't know how old that could be, but if you are older than me, the film festival is for everyone, and there is ways to get a film in, whether you live here, study here, or just have a really sketchy connection to Northamptonshire. There is a category for you. So this is our website, northamptonfilmfestival.co.uk. You can also read about us on Film Freeview, or on we've got loads of Facebook pages and Instagrams and stuff. So if you're interested in our organisation, we're at Screen Northants. If you're interested in the film festival only and not Screen Northants, then we're NN Film Festival on Instagram and Twitter. And you can look us up on Facebook as well. So sorry, that's a lot of words. So I'm going to try and stop talking. So the guest we have with us today so I met her while she was at college in Northamptonshire, now at university studying film. But she entered a film into our 48-hour film challenge, or a few of them, and has entered films into the main competition. And so I thought we'd just pick her brains about why on earth people might want to enter Northampton Film Festival. So I'm going to bring Lara Sugden in. Hello, Lara. How are you?
Hello. I haven't unmuted myself then.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I should have said, in one moment, I'll bring Lara in, and then you can unmute yourself. But I'm not a very professional presenter, so it doesn't work. I like to cut people off as well, and all sorts of things. So it'll all go wrong. But yes, Lara. I mean, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of like filmy stuff, vaguely?
Well, when you asked me this last year, I said that I had no clue really what I wanted to do in film. I was just sort of trying out everything, entering the competitions. But since that last festival, I've started uni where I'm studying film, and I've sort of gotten a little bit more into the directing side of films. That's what I like to call myself, is more of a director. I've made a comedy. I made a drama last month. Currently making a drama for this year's festival. I've had a couple of my films. You also mentioned last year to start entering more festivals, so I did. And I got 2 nominations actually for one of my films, for the London shorts and for the Cannes shorts. So that's quite exciting. So that's who I am. I direct lots of different types of films and like entering the Northampton Film Festival.
Amazing. Yeah, lucky when people take my advice. But yeah, the film, I mean, why do you think people should enter film festivals? Like, what have they been good for you?
Oh, I think you broke up a bit there.
Oh,
sorry, mind repeating that? All right.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, yes, I recommended you enter film festivals. I can tell you why I think they're good, but why have you entered them, and what have you kind of got out of them?
Well, I'm going to talk first about why, even if you're not in the festival, why film festivals are great. It's getting just seeing what's out there, what other filmmakers are making, getting a little bit of inspiration, what other people like, seeing what's doing well at the minute, what's getting funded and all that. But as well as actually putting your own films out there, it's getting feedback from other filmmakers and networking with other filmmakers and getting them involved in your next projects and you getting involved in their next project. So it's more of like getting inspiration and seeing what else is out there and seeing what people think of your work. It's a good way of getting experience when you're not very experienced. It's actually being confident to put your work out there. I think
that's, that's really hard. That is a really hard thing. Obviously, everyone's always scared when they share a film, and a film is never finished. It's just let go, because you could edit forever or change things or reshoot things, and you've just sometimes got to let it go, and it is scary. But I mean, I think it's important to hear what people think of your films. At the end of the day, you don't make films entirely for yourself. You make them, for an audience.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's actually, I always probably think more about the kind of getting some recognition, and actually you've got a much more mature view of film festivals than I have. But actually there's lots of things you can, the networking and the feedback and all that stuff, which is really interesting. And so 48-hour film challenges, these are things that we do as part of Northampton Film Festival, like every other month. At the moment it's every month because we've gone mad, but there, obviously, you make a film in 48 hours. We give you a theme, 6 o'clock. You've got 48 hours to deliver us a film. You've done some of those for us. Like, what do you think of a 48-hour film challenge?
They're mad. But it's so fun. I did two. I think I did one every month that we did them last year. And I tried something new every single month. I did a mockumentary. I did a comedy. I did a horror. So I think that's the good thing about them, is every month you can just try something new.
It's true, actually. Although we set a theme, you can take, everyone always takes the theme in really different directions, and that's actually, it's a really good point. Like, I think people think sometimes that we set them up for us, but I mean, we love them because we love watching all the films, but actually we kind of set them up because we hope people use them as an exercise.
And everyone, like you said, everyone takes them a different way. So with the first one I ever did, it was like horror about like during COVID, and it's like scary times, made a horror. Someone else decided to make a comedy, which was to bring a bit more light to the situation. So it is interesting seeing what everyone does with just the same theme.
Well, and going back to, obviously you're now doing a degree in film, but like, what made you know that film was a thing for you? Because I think it's quite a hard one when you don't necessarily see loads of stuff in school about making films.
Yeah, well, I always loved watching films and like going to the cinema and everything. And I always made little films with my cousin, iMovies, and they were always really terrible, but it was always something that I enjoyed. And I wanted to go more into acting, which I did like a summer camp in acting. But then that was where I sort of thought I want to do a bit more behind the scenes sort of stuff. So I went to college after that to look more into that. But yeah, it was always acting. And then I realised this probably isn't the place for me. I still act in all my films. It's usually it's easy just to use yourself when there's no one else. But yeah, acting was where it began. Really. I thought I wanted to be an actor. I hate acting and I hate doing any kind of performing. But I think because you don't necessarily see other roles, you just think film's kind of all about acting. Whereas actually, when you'll know when you make a film, there's so much that happens outside of those performances when you finally get on set. I mean, what's your favourite part of filmmaking? I like working with other people. I think that it's a very collaborative thing, and getting everyone else's opinions into what you're making is quite interesting. So you can have like an amazing idea, and then someone else will be like, "What about we try this?" And that's quite interesting. I like that. And I also like at the end when it comes together and you've seen something that you've worked so hard on. Like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, for people who maybe are making those films with their cousin or whatever, what advice would you give them to kind of take the next step in professionalism? Is that the right word? But how have your films changed from those little ones you're making just for fun to when you actually start to share them with the big scary world?
I guess watching more films that are out there, like old and new films. Since I've started uni, I have started watching a lot more old films, like Hitchcock sort of films, then old black and whites. And I think that watching old films like that and getting inspiration from them and trying that in your own work is good as well. Like I just said, working with other people, it's a big collaborative industry. So yeah, take ideas, even if you think it's going to fail, then try it, and because failing's a part of filmmaking, I guess. Try it out anyway.
Yeah, no, yeah, failure is part of filmmaking. True, but it's learning and whatever. I mean, talking of then, what's your biggest flop or thing that's gone absolutely completely wrong? Because I like to share these.
Well, in the film that I made for this year's festival, it was probably the biggest film I've worked on so far. It was a real pain getting actors. I actually only got my actors like locked in a couple days before filming was scheduled to start, which was a bit stressful. But in the end, we actually ended up getting some very good actors that turned out well in the end. We also had like issues with people getting to the location. I think that's the main issue that we came to, was people getting here, traveling and that. But yeah, it was the stress the week up to filming that got me a bit like, oh no, is this going to happen? But I think, yeah, it all turned out in the end. So
good. Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking just before we went live about not so much stress, I suppose, but about procrastinating or being a bit rabbit in the headlights when someone goes, make a film, and you're like, okay, I can make anything, oh my god, and and it's really hard to start. So any advice for people who are going, I want to make a film, but where on earth do I begin?
That's exactly how I felt when I had the first theme for the last 48-hour film challenge. I had no clue what I was doing, but like I said, I went from thinking, oh, it's COVID, it's terrifying, let's make a horror, and obviously you can bring some light to the situation, make a comedy instead. So that's where I got my inspiration mostly from for the first one, was what's happening in the world. Well, there's COVID, we can't really see our friends and family, so sort of explore that in my film. There was it was mainly just what's going on in the news and using my friends and family as actors. But now that obviously after COVID has sort of hopefully started to die down, my ideas are mainly coming from like quotes that I've seen somewhere. Like the film that I made for this festival, it's I actually found a quote on Pinterest that I thought, oh, that's a cool quote. It was a quote that it said, there's sadness behind every smile. I thought that's rather interesting, so I started to write based on that quote, as well as what's going on in my family and what's going on in my life. And I also explore the theme of family in my film this year. After obviously during COVID, your family couldn't really see each other, so that's when you started to realize how important they are. And so I wanted to put that in there as well, explore that relationship in my film. So inspiration came from everywhere, quotes on Pinterest, my family, and obviously after this whole awful 2 years of COVID, how it made me feel. So yeah.
Well, almost, you've almost given yourself kind of a 48-hour film challenge theme, by finding that quote and just going, I'm going to run with that because that gives me lots of ideas.
Yes, that's a good tip. If you don't know what to do, go on Pinterest and just search something, and you will find something to base a film off of.
Absolutely. I mean, and also what like say, family or friends or your work situation or whatever will always give you like a million different storylines. Anything you find interesting, someone else is probably going to find interesting. But there you go. And we've got so we've had some comments rather than questions, but Matt, who's obviously watching on one of the platforms live, he was, in fact, I'm going to put his quote on this. It's quite long, but I'm going to put it on the screen because I have the capability to do this. So I'm going to use it. Yeah, as much as acting is not for everyone, I found that working as an extra gave me a lot of opportunity to watch how other people make films, how the camera moves, that kind of stuff. And it's a fair point, actually, that yes, maybe acting, isn't what you want to do, but it can be sometimes the easiest way to kind of get on a set and see stuff happening. And in fact, have you put yourself onto other people's film sets in other roles, not just directing?
Well, during uni, I have a lot. I've got a couple coming up, actually. There's one for a second year project where I'm acting, actually. So that's quite exciting. I'm going to be an assistant director on someone else's film. So it is quite exciting going and seeing how other people work. I'm working on like films that I would never have thought of making myself, like genres that I never would have explored myself. So it is interesting seeing how other people work and how other people write. And as well, saying that working as an extra gives you lots of opportunities and almost gets your foot in the door. With there's like directors like Greta Gerwig, she got into it starting out really as an actress. So a lot of people do start out like that, and it's a good way of sort of getting into the industry.
Yeah, I mean, did you when do you think having worked as an actor, which is, you know, very much the other side of the camera, obviously, but does that help you working with actors, which obviously is like a huge part of, you know, a director's job?
Yeah, I think it does. You understand like different tips to give them, and if you've been to an acting school before, you can say where you've different things that you've learned and that they can try in their acting. It's sort of sharing ideas with each other, having more of a conversation rather than what do you think that you could do, but not having any idea how to act yourself. I think it's a good thing to have some sort of experience in performing, or being able to actually relate with them and understand what could work well. I think it's a good thing to have experience. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, saying that, I've never done any acting and I run away. So I'm always in awe, particularly, you know, on film. Film acting is so much different because, you know, theatre, at least, you know, you've got your hour and a half, off you go. Whereas on film, there can be so much stuff going on around an actor, just distracting them from trying to do something really emotional or really difficult. And I'm in awe of people who act on camera, to be honest. But what's next for you? Like, so obviously you're where are we? So you're kind of coming up to the end of your first year at uni.
Yeah, I'll be finishing in May. It feels like it's gone really quick. I was just saying it's like already at the end. It's really weird. But yeah, we've got our final project coming up at the end of this semester, which is a comedy about a guy who gets locked in his room before an very important date. And then we've also got something that we're working on outside of uni, which is, I guess, what you call like a tragic love story. I'm working with one of the writers in my uni seminar group. And so that's quite interesting, like seeing something that he's written and trying to make it real. So that's what we're doing at the minute. We're working on a couple of different projects, editing the film for this year's festival. Obviously, I've just been nominated for the Cannes Short Film Festival, so hopefully I find out soon if that's succeeded.
Yeah, nice. And obviously, I don't want to wish your time away, but, you know, 2 more years of uni, then what? What have you kind of got in mind that where you'd like to be? I mean, it's difficult for a director. I think it's hard to map it out. But what's the dream when you leave university?
Well, in my 3rd year, I'm actually doing a placement year.
Cool.
So and then I'll come back for my 4th year. But I'm hoping that when I go away for that, I'll find something. I'll really see what it is in film that I enjoy doing. I'll probably start off like doing something small, like a runner, I don't know. But then I'm hoping that after that, I'll really know what I want to do and maybe start making my own films and working with other people and working my way up. At the minute, it's just working towards that placement and seeing exactly what it is that interests me. Definitely. And meeting new people.
Yeah, networking is a big thing. So just for my last little kind of question to you. So obviously we're hoping that people watching this might think, oh, do you know what? Maybe I'll do a 48-hour film challenge, or I'll get my school to do a film for the schools competition, or whatever. Some top tips, things that might help people's filmmaking run a bit smoother if they've never really done it before.
Oh, it's really difficult. Listen to everybody, because someone really tiny in the group might have a really great idea. Every film is good practice. So yeah, just make a film about anything. This would be a really great idea to make a film about. And so I was like, maybe at some point when I have time, I'll just make like a scene of it or something, just to practice. And then maybe later on I could go back and make it bigger. That's something that I think is a good tip, is just if you have an idea, just go out and even make just a tiny little bit of it, and make something that you're passionate about as well. Like if you like comedy, then a comedy will be a good thing to make because it'll be fun. But yeah, anything that you're passionate about, whether that's a topic on like mental health or a genre, go for it. And yeah, if you're passionate about it, the film will show that, I think.
Definitely. And I think, you know, people worry about technical skill and things. Obviously, it's lovely if you can also do brilliant things technically. But if, like you say, if the heart of the story is good and you care about it, then someone watching it will get that.
Like, it doesn't have to look amazing. You don't have to have the best lighting or anything. As long as it's got a powerful story and it sends some sort of message to the audience and makes them feel something, then it will be a good film.
I agree. You know, and I definitely, I help create the shortlist for all the competitions, and that's, yeah, if it gets me, I don't mind if there's some ropey, all sorts of stuff in there, because we've all made films with ropey stuff in it.
Even if it was made on like a phone, a tiny little phone, it will be a great film.
Yeah, totally. And to be fair, actually, any phone with a camera is probably a billion times better than stuff that I was filming films on when I was at university many years ago. But fabulous. If people want to have a look at your work, or, you know, look you up on social media or whatever, do you have any kind of public facing stuff people can look you up on?
Well, I have an Instagram, which is at Filmed by Lara, and Twitter, which is Lara Sugden Media. And yeah, there's links on there to like my YouTube and everything, and my website, and all my films will be on there that you can have a look at. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And I would highly recommend them. You know, got some great notes from the judges as last year's competition. And thank you very much for joining us again, Lara. And I'm very excited to see your entry for this year, because I just blooming love watching them all.
No one's seen it yet. I'm very excited to share it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so would it be a premiere for Northampton Film Festival?
It might be the world premiere.
World premiere. How exciting. Right. Let's do a really awkward wave to say goodbye to you, but thank you very much for giving us your time, and I will be looking you up. Filmed by Lara.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, isn't that awkward? So yes, just a little bit of a recap. If you are interested in entering the film festival, or to be fair, you know, you want to keep an eye on more stuff like this, we do other Q&As, talks, things, all sorts of stuff with the film festival. So have a look on the website, or you can also have a look, as I say, at all our social media stuff, and then hopefully you will take part in some way or another in the film festival. Also, if you're just interested to talk to us about it, see what's going on Thursday evenings between now, which is March 2022, if you're watching this on catch up, and May 2022, we're doing lots of things online and in person on Thursdays, where you can just come and be nosy, or you can come and volunteer, or tell us what kind of events you want, and then we have to put them on for you. Whatever, get in touch. So I'm now going to do my awkward wave as I sign off. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody.